Hello, this is Broyar, and welcome back to another episode of our Let's Play for Football Manager 2022, continuing our Journeyman Glory Hunter run for now, still with Newcastle United, although I've only gone like one day since the last episode. Today is the season review and transfer special. We'll see what else happens during this episode as well, but let's get into it. All right, Newcastle United end of season review, 2027-2028 season. So that makes us what? 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8. So this is our 7th season. Okay, just making sure. 7th season overall, the end of our 7th season of this challenge. We've only got 18 seasons to go, guys. Not a lot of time, but we'll see. This end of season review is not really much about me, to be fair, because I wasn't really involved in a lot of this. In fact, who here did I actually bring in? I'm actually surprised how many of these guys were new this season. They brought in a lot of old players. Bernardini, Depay, Kluivert. Gordon, thankfully, is young, but he's still got a lot to grow. Maitland-Niles. I brought Maitland-Niles in, apparently, which was... Is that what that says? Is that the signing of the season? So there you go. Bringing him apparently was a big deal for everybody. Mike came in here new. They brought in they just didn't have the money to do much, did they? Lenardi, got to be minus for Lenardi. Didn't do good for these two guys because I just didn't play them at all. Obviously Bobby John, I knew that was going to be bad. But I don't know, some decent stuff, some bad stuff. We'll see. Oof. We'll find out, guys. We will find out. Looks like Leicester, it did in fact win the FA Cup, didn't they? Does it say? Can we see who won? We'll look at it in a minute. But anyway, so overall, obviously, 11th place finish, not great. Would have been nice to be top 10 at the very least, but just couldn't quite get there. Moments to remember. Biggest win was Newcastle against Watford. Okay. Match to remember was Newcastle against West Ham. That was just before we actually showed up. And then goal of the season was Ndidi against Crystal Palace. Okay. Let's go see this goal of the season. It actually happened while we were there, but I don't remember this one specifically. Limpty gets it back, gets it over to Weigl, over to Ndidi. A good goal. Very good goal. I'll give him that one. And then here's the return goal. Oh, well, what you gonna do? All right, well, that was not bad. Good goal from Ndidi. The finances. We did get a new sponsorship deal. 47.6 mil, not bad. A little bit higher on the sponsorships overall. Actually, quite a bit higher on the sponsorships overall. Broadcast revenue was a little bit down. Corporate hospitality, about the same. Competition prize money was down because we didn't make it very far. Matchday commercial was a little bit down. Kluivert, Memphis, Fabio Vieira, Aronson, St. Maximin. Not bad. Here's how we lined up. 4-2-3-1, which is funny because I don't know, I barely even played this formation at all, but this is what they played the first half of the season, which didn't work. So that's part of the reason why I started changing around. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this doesn't matter to us because we weren't there for a lot of it. Player of the season was Max Aarons. Young player of the season was Junio. Signing of the season, we did bring that guy in at least. Goal of the season, we saw that. Top goal scorer, Vieira. Most assists to pay. Most player of the match awards was Aarons. Highest rating was Aarons. And then most passes completed, Romero. Highest transfer fee received. We sold this Madueke guy for £50 million. I probably wish he was with us since he played for Chelsea. Or no, it's Leicester, sorry, Leicester. I don't know why I say Chelsea. I was looking at the blue and I was not looking at the symbol. Went on to have a 6.83 in the league, but 7.21 in the Euro Cup. Good for you, buddy. Wish we'd kept you, probably. Not my choice. Do be fair. All right, well, there's that. Nothing here that really, I think, jumps out at us that we need to look at because, again, a lot of these guys were not anything that I had anything to do with. Yeah, they're going to discuss my future. I guess I'll keep you around for this. It's funny that it says a C, though. We are not happy with your current performance or considering your position at the club. We would like to know why you think the team has performed so badly. I don't think it's injuries. I don't even know if it's this. I think it's. I don't think this is going to work, but I want to try and convince them. They'll give us the benefit of the doubt. All right. We're safe for at least the first part of a new season. I don't think they give us much time in the new season, though. If we start falling apart right away, I think we're gone before midseason for sure. Okay, well, that's it, guys. We are... at this point, I've at least made it through the transfer window. I can at least get through the transfer window with this team, and we can see what we can do. Expect some pretty amazing changes, I hope. If things go the way I want them to, pretty big changes. But again, of course, that you have to get the money for the guys you're trying to sell so that you can then turn around and buy new guys. So sometimes it's out of your hands, right? So we'll see what happens. But we'll be back for any transfer news or anything else. All right, that has got to be the craziest transfer window I have ever done. We actually have to start back at the end of last season because I started transfers literally as soon as I put the pause in. As soon as we did the season review, I started doing transfers. I started looking at things and trying to come up with things and kind of get people in here. So we done some business, guys. We done some business. Our outgoing is 377 million. Our incoming is 134 million. And that's from last season. That's from the end of last season. And you see some big ones down there that I kind of played around with. I had about $190 million in transfer budget. And I've turned that $190 million into a bunch of players. So let's start with the outs, I guess, real quick. Obviously, you guys saw the light out, Zidane out. These two aren't big, but they were out. So Souček, we left him, got him out for about 1.9 mil. Honestly, we were going to get to the point where we're going to improve the squad enough that we weren't going to be able to register him. Getting something for him is better than nothing. Getting him off our wage budget, that kind of stuff, was really what that was all about. We then sold Bernardoni, who was one of our goalkeepers, one of our many goalkeepers, none of which are at the club anymore. Sort of. One sort of here. But anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. So Bernardoni goes out for 14.75 mil. Felt like that was a good move overall. With that 14.75 mil and other things, obviously, we brought in our first player, who was a goalkeeper. That was the first one I went out and got. We got Juan Philippe Conde here, who is a 3.5-star current, 4-star potential, 22 years old youngster. His value is at 94 to 107, and we got him for 30-something mil. Obviously, our best goalkeeper overall. He comes in here. He's driven, world-class goalkeeper, level-headed media. I guess that helps. But he's played in the World Cup South American qualifying, 7.4 rating. He played in Eintracht Frankfurt last year in the Bundesliga at 7.12 rating. So I feel like this is a pretty good pickup for us. 31 mil, and he's got a lot of potential to be a really good goalkeeper for us. I think definitely better than any of the goalkeepers we had already. So huge win there. We then picked up from Everton, a league team. We picked up Daviv here. 50 million up front, could go as high as 60 million for Daviv. He's valued at 94 to 113 million. I don't know how much you played into these values. Just take those with a grain of salt, but just say we could potentially get some stuff for him. But he's 28 years old, a little younger than some of those 30-year-olds that we were getting. Fairly professional, elite center back. Obviously coming in as a center back. He was at a 7.0 last season, 7.13 the season before, 7.06. I mean, he's basically been right at or above 7.0 for the last several seasons in a row. I felt like he was going to be a good pickup for us to give us some more depth, more strength in the central defender role. We then pick up Isak here, 75 million up front, 90 million over time. This one's a big one. This one's a toughie, but he comes in here as a 4-star elite striker who's 28 years old, a couple years younger than that 30-year-old, so probably in his prime. Maybe we overpaid for him, maybe we didn't. I don't know. It's hard to tell. He's still valued pretty highly And he comes in as our best striker, for sure. By far, best striker, especially since Depay was 34 years old. So a 6-year younger striker. I think this is a good one for us. 91 caps for Sweden, 39 goals for Sweden. I think he comes in as a very, very strong striker for us. 7.29 last year in Real San Sebastian, 7.06 before, 7.25. I mean, he's putting up some numbers, guys. He's putting up some numbers, and I think he's going to be a good one for us for several more years, a couple more years. We then pick up Rafael Luis from Hoffenheim, 55 mil upfront, 66 million over time, and he comes in as a strong midfielder, defensive midfielder role. 3-star, just solid player. 23 years old. He's not going to improve a lot more, to be fair, but he just comes in as a good strength. He's our second best midfielder right now compared to what we had before. So he's just behind Ndidi. But again, Ndidi's getting a little bit old. We'll be able to keep this guy for quite some time. So maybe we paid this might be one of those that we might have paid a little bit over what we should have for him, but I still think it's going to be a good pickup for us. We shall see. We then pick up Pablo Andrada in here for 13.7 million. That was his release clause. So we just went ahead and paid that all up front. He comes in from Penarol, from Atletico. I guess it's some team in Spain. First division. Oh, Uruguay. Uruguay's sort of first division. There you go. Shows how much I know. He comes in here as a wonder kid, a goalkeeping wonder kid. 2.5 star up now. Could be as high as 4-5 stars. So he could be better than Conde. Picking him up for 3.7 million. He's already worth more than that. I think if nothing else, he's worth it for the ability to flip him for some major profit if he starts to develop a little bit, and I think he will. So really just a guy to come in here and give us another goalkeeping option that has a lot of good potential. So that's last season's transfers, obviously all done after the end of season. So this season's transfers, I guess I'm going to move my head out of the way. I just realized you guys couldn't even see those others before. Let me move my head out of the way now, just so you can see what I was talking about over here for the 1.9 mil for Souček and the 14.75 for Bernardoni. Anyway, so this season's transfers, a lot more going out than coming in. But again, we've already gotten, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in. So think about that. Plus a lot of these are loans, so don't worry about that too much. Alcácer, however you say his name, went out on a free. Looks like McDermott went out on a free. Weigl went out for 26 million to enter. He was one that I had slotted for. Actually, no, he's the one of the ones. I got my list here. I've been sitting here just writing stuff down. Weigl was definitely one of the ones that I decided to move on. He played well for us, 6.95 rating last season, but I thought we could get some good money for him and replace him for somebody else. So we went ahead and moved him on for 26 million, 32 years old. I just wanted to move on the old guys and bring in some youngsters. That was really what this is all about. So we got 26 million for him. Alan Saint Maxim goes out on loan. Just somebody else that we just weren't really going to be using. I tried to sell him on, but nobody really wanted him for the prices I wanted. So I just went ahead and let him loan out, and we'll figure him out later. I think they're at least paying for his wage budget, which is just as important, honestly, getting somebody that we're not going to be using off the wage budget. Mike, obviously one of our goalkeepers, went out for 17.75. So basically we traded Mike and, we traded Mike and Bernardoni. You add them up, and that's about the price that we paid for Conde. I think that was worth it. And so we got a little bit of money for Mike. Traore goes out on loan. Junio, this was one that I wasn't necessarily pursuing myself. I was actually going to keep Junio, but Borussia Dortmund came in for a really good price. He then decided he wanted to leave. He was going to get grumpy if he didn't. So we went ahead and moved him on for 37.5 million. It was a bit of a good guy to keep around, but I think we're going to still be fine without him. Romero, also another one that I would have kept, but he wanted to leave. He was getting a little bit grumpy. So we went ahead and moved him on for 29 million to enter. A couple more loans there. Gregory, a striker, youngster striker, went out for 1.1 mil. And then the final one, again, another guy. So it's 3 guys, Junio, Romero, and Aarons here now, that I would have kept if it had been a completely 100% up to me. But he really wanted to go on to a team that was in the Champions League. Can't blame him for that. Actually, that might have been why these guys left as well, because I think Inter and Borussia Dortmund are both in Champions. Definitely, I think Inter. I'm not sure about Borussia Dortmund. But anyway, Aaron's wanted to leave, go to a Champions League club. I can't fault him for that. And we got 58 million for him. So 170 million coming in, 233 million going back out again. And here are, going back out again. Sorry, that's what I said it right. So Pablo, are you on both screens? Yeah, I was going to say, Pablo obviously is on both screens. He was a little crossover. But here's the 4 guys we got. A couple of these to replace the guys that went out. So Iglesias comes in here from Borussia Dortmund, surprisingly. So we sold them somebody for 37.5, and we paid 78 million for Bruno Iglesias here. Oh, we'll see if this is a good move or not. Actually, Junio was a midfielder. Actually, that might have been why they wanted Junio, come to think of it, because we got Iglesias first. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Iglesias comes in as a midfielder who could also play as an attacking midfielder. Technically, he could play on the left or the right. 4-star, just solid player, already at his potential. 25 years old. It's valued at a couple hundred mil, if you can believe that. I don't know if, again, let's say he was valued at half of that. That's still more than we paid for him. So he comes in here. He was on a 7.37 last year. I feel like that's a pretty good rating. 7.3 the year before. 7.14. It was 4 years ago before you get anything below the 7. So overall, I felt like this was a good pickup, especially considering Junio. Actually, Junio was a youngster. Sorry, that's one of the guys that was younger. It's possible Junio could develop into something better, but his best is potentially a 3-star, and we already got a guy who is a 4-star. So obviously, we're paying double for this guy what we paid for Junio, or we got for Junio, but I still think we're okay. Single comes in here more or less to replace kind of Romero, because we can move some guys around. Romero is a central defender. Single comes in as a right defender, although he can also play as in the central role. He can literally play up this entire right-hand side, which is pretty awesome. Right back, who's 4-star, just already player, 27 years old, attacking fullback. He's already there. He's already our best right back overall. And 51 million is his value. I think we paid a little bit more for him than that, right? We paid 50 million. Oh no, sorry. We paid 36.5 million up front, going up to 51 million. So we paid about cost for him, I think. And I think that was going to be a good pickup for him. He comes in here, his history, career stats, 7.5 in the 12 games he played last season with PSG, 7.54 the year before. So he hasn't played a full season for whatever reason. But I've heard PSG is a good team. So if you're getting a 7.5 rating and it's PSG, I would like to think that you could play pretty well in the Premier League. We shall see. Kambala comes in here. He is for sure the direct replacement for Romero here. 50 million up front, 72 million over time, or with conditionals. Goodness, sorry. Here comes the yawns, guys. Kambala comes in here as a solid central defender, 28 years old, resolute, and his overall ratings, again, over 7.0s in the Spanish First Division for Real Madrid. So there you go. And then finally, Bodwin, who actually was on the list for potential young player of the season right before we finalized the deal to bring him over. He comes in here as an attacking winger because there's a good chance that Lamptey, that's right. I was going to say, I couldn't remember his name for a second. There's a good chance that Lamptey might have to play as a wingback on one side or the other, depending on how things look. And I wanted to bring in somebody else to cover his attacking winger spots. And so that's where Baldwin comes in here. 65 million up front. Could go as high as 80 million from Leicester, which does mean that we're pulling from another team within the league, which always feels good. And he comes in here as a 3.5-star current. Could be as high as 4-star. Not quite our best winger at the moment, but he is 22 years old, so he's very young, and he could very easily fit into that role or be just as good, if not better, than some of these other guys. He could also technically play as striker or attacking midfielder. So there you go. On his history, not quite 7s as far as since he's been in England, but he was getting 7s in Belgium. And 6.94 is not a bad rating at all. All right. That's our squad. Here's what our squad depth looks like. Right now, we're slotted into a 4-3-3 DM wide. That feels like the formation that I kind of want to play them potentially, just because of some of the players we got. But I think we could easily go to a 4-2-3-1 if we just so chose. But here we go. A little bit weak on the left and right defenders. Oh, one more transfer. Sorry, I'm not done yet. Final transfer has not been approved yet. It's waiting for a work permit, but is Olivier Marie-Louis coming in from PSG as well, 22 years old. He comes in here. He's a work product for us. He's somebody who we want to work on. He has the potential to be an outstanding wingback. He's not quite there yet. 22 years old, though. He's got some potential. 2-star. He could technically be a backup for us. We'll see what he can do. I doubt he's played much. He's probably played. Yeah, he's played for the younger under squads. Not really done much. As the odds continue, I apologize. It is getting a little late. I've been sitting here for 4 or 5 hours doing this, so just so you guys know. But we're only paying 10.25 million up front for him. Could go as high as 47.5 if he actually plays for us with some of those conditionals. And I think overall that's going to be a pretty good deal, because if worse comes to worse, we could always sell him on for presumably a pretty big profit. So anyway, another fullback, wingback that could come in here and fill out a little bit of our squad, because as you can see, that's probably the one spot we are the weakest on depth-wise, but we've still got some. Lamptey can play on the left, Hernandez behind him, or whatever. Lamptey can play on the right, Single can play on the right. We've got some options here. We just need a little bit more potential depth there, and I think we'll be okay. Kondo obviously is our best goalkeeper. Kumbula is our best, and Daviv, our two best defenders. I guess I can turn my face back on. Our two best defenders are the two guys we just picked up. Ndidi's probably our best defensive midfielder, although Luis can play very well there as well. And Ndidi's also one of our best midfielders still. Iglesias, new guy Iglesias is in here. Vieira is obviously still in here. Lamptey, obviously our best attacking midfielder on the right, with Vieira, Depay, Kluivert. A few of the guys that we've seen before could potentially swing in there as well. Isak and Iglesias on the left. Where is... Bodwin is here. Very likely Bodwin will play quite a bit for us, because he's going to be a good player for us, I think. But we've got other players that can play in those spots as well. And then, of course, Isak is our best striker. So, we're ready for our first game against Everton. Here is how we've played through the friendlies, if that matters at all. We played a lot of American teams. We did beat Tottenham 3-0, for whatever that means. We can score, and we can keep other teams from scoring. We put up a lot of numbers and lots of zeros here. We did lose to Arsenal. Again, we're doing rotations, things like that, so don't read too much into it. We then beat Aston Villa, drew against Fulham, and I think by the time we get to these later ones, all of our starters are starting to get better fit, so these are going to be a lot of our backup players, so don't read again too much into that. We've got a winnable first game, I think, against Everton. Not to say that Everton's bad, but I think we can win against Everton, at home at least. But a very tough game against Man United in our second game up. So going to be tough. And then we play Burnley from the league in the Carabao Cup second round. And there you go from there. So it is going to be an interesting season. Here's how we are slated. Season preview. 6 is our slot right now. Everton down here at 11th. That's why I said that's a winnable game. Obviously, Man United is picked to be number 1, which you would expect. But we are only behind Arsenal of the best of the rest, if you will, group. So, and actually Arsenal's starting to look like they're one of those top 5 teams, potentially able to put up numbers and points just like those other top 5. So we might be the best of the rest if you count these 5 as another section entirely. That would be good. 6th place would get us towards where we want to be. And if we overachieve just a little bit, we could be in a 5th or 4th spot. We got to take care of 6 first, though, right, guys? Definitely going to be tough. We don't have any of the media Dream 11, but we do have a couple players that are in the key players sections over here. We've got Kumbula, and we've got Isak. So a couple guys that look like they're showing up pretty good. It's going to be a tough league, though. I mean, they've got players that are like worth my best player for all 11 spots, So we'll do the best we can, and hopefully this ends up being a better season than it was last year, and get back into the Euros. That's our goal. Get back into the Euros. But anyway, there's the transfers. Let me know what you think about the transfers in the comments below. Did I go too crazy, guys? I probably did, right? I went way too crazy. I went so crazy. But, financially, we still got a little bit of money in the bank. I didn't completely blow it, although I think our projections are going to be pretty bad. Not as bad as I thought. Not as bad. Only 35, 34, 39 mil. I was expecting this to be like 300 mil in the hole. So potentially we're okay still, and not completely blown next year's budget or the year after this budget and things like that. I don't know, guys. I'm excited. In fact, I really wanted to get right into the next game, but I got to go to bed. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. Actually, it's almost 4 in the morning. But I wanted to get this done tonight, and I'm pretty excited. The first 5 games are going to be very telling. If we're like losing every single game in the first 5 games, I'm going to start crying because this was, like I said, one of the craziest transfer windows I've ever done. I felt like one of my best, but we won't know until we actually see the games. Anyway, enough talking, enough done. I'm just rambling on because I'm probably tired and having lots of fun as well. But I do appreciate you guys watching. May God bless you. And I hope you join me again next time for an exciting full season in the English Premier League. Thank you and goodbye. I wanted to give a special shout out to our first channel member ever, Telrenar. Thank you so much for supporting the channel.